Lyra and Ethan set out at dawn, moving through desolate landscapes. The silent forest looms ahead, a sprawling expanse of dense trees and perpetual fog. The forest is infamous. Many who enter never return. Lyra clutches the map tightly, her eyes darting around for any signs of danger. As they journey deeper, the forest becomes unnervingly quiet. The dense canopy overhead blocks out most of the sunlight, leaving them in a dim, perpetual twilight. The air grows colder, heavy with an unshakable sense of foreboding. Every tree trunk seems to lean toward them, as though the forest itself is watching their every move. The only sounds are their muffled footsteps and the occasional rustle of leaves, but even these feel intrusive in the unnatural stillness. Lyra's grip tightens on her knife, her eyes darting toward every flicker of movement. Ethan glances back occasionally, his face a mask of calm, but Lyra can see the tension in his shoulders. Her thoughts race with doubts about the map, the safe haven, and Ethan himself. It feels as though the forest is alive, waiting for them to falter, to speak, to make one fatal mistake. The oppressive silence presses down on them, and Lyra wonders if it's the forest or their own fears that will consume them first. Even the wind seems afraid to disturb the stillness. Ethan signals for a break, and they sit by a fallen tree. He writes on his notepad, "Why are you going to the safe haven?" Lyra hesitates before scribbling back, to find a reason to keep going. Ethan nods, but doesn't elaborate on his own reasons. That night, while setting up camp, they hear a sound that freezes them in place, a child crying. Lyra's instincts scream to investigate, but Ethan shakes his head vehemently. He writes, "It's a trap." Ignoring him, Lyra follows the sound and finds a young boy, no older than 7, huddled under a tree. The boy, Sam, looks terrified but uninfected. Lyra brings him back to the camp despite Ethan's protests. Sam doesn't speak, but his eyes convey a deep fear. Lyra tries to comfort him, while Ethan keeps his distance. Later, as Sam sleeps, Ethan finally reveals part of his story. He was a scientist working on a cure for the Omega virus with his wife, who succumbed to the infection. He believes the safe haven is not just a refuge, but a research facility where he can finish what they started. Traveling with Sam complicates everything. His presence attracts echo hunters, infected individuals who retain some intelligence, and lure victims with recorded voices. The group narrowly avoids an ambush when Lyra spots a hidden speaker playing the sound of a crying baby. Ethan disables the trap, but their escape is chaotic, leaving them exhausted and on edge. Lyra begins to question Ethan's motives. She notices how he watches Sam closely, almost as if he's studying him. Her suspicions deepen when she finds a syringe in Ethan's belongings. When confronted, Ethan admits he believes Sam's immunity could be the key to a cure. He promises not to harm the boy, but insists they must reach the safe haven quickly. That night, Lyra dreams of her family, lost to the virus. She wakes to find Sam missing. Panicked, she searches the camp and finds Ethan drawing blood from the boy. Furious, she silently confronts him, but Ethan explains that the sample is crucial. Sam doesn't seem hurt, but Lyra's trust in Ethan is shaken. After narrowly escaping the ambush, the group finally reaches the outskirts of the safe haven. The facility is hidden within a rocky valley, surrounded by electrified fences and surveillance cameras. But something feels off. The gates are open, and the place is eerily quiet. Inside, they find a state-of-the-art laboratory abandoned in haste. Computers hum softly, and medical equipment lies scattered. A recording plays on a loop left by Ethan's late wife. She explains that she developed a prototype cure using blood samples from an immune child. The safe haven was overrun before she could finish her work. Her final words urge Ethan to continue the research. Ethan throws himself into the work, but Lyra grows increasingly suspicious. Sam begins to weaken, and Lyra discovers that Ethan has been using the boy's blood for experiments without her consent. Enraged, she confronts him, and Ethan breaks down, admitting he's desperate to save the world, even if it costs Sam his life.
Possibility Nexus.